What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's happening with the overall market, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But let me first mention I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, guys, I do apologize if I'm being very, very quiet right now. I'm trying to not wake up the people around me, but it was just the 4th of July. A lot of people were celebrating, and I'm still awake very, very early on just to make this video the day after. But I just want to say that right now, Tesla's in this 250 area starting to shuffle, and this is what we called out. I said that Tesla's going to likely pump a bit more to 250, but watch resistance here. Tesla's starting to shuffle here, so we're going to be very, very careful. Now, looking at some economic data, we have some important data that just came out. Unemployment is at 4.1%, a little bit above expectations. The market did push a bit after this came out. And then we have non-farm payrolls and governmental payrolls all basically above expectations. Only manufacturing payrolls are a little bit low, but everything else was quite decent and even like above expectations. But we are seeing unemployment becoming a little bit hotter than what we initially expected. This is actually a big sign of contraction. Right now, the market's kind of like pushing, thinking that the Fed is getting closer to cutting, but the question is, can we keep pushing the way we are as we approach new resistance levels? And what else is going to be coming out? So I'll be talking about that in just a minute. As a reminder, we had some news about Tesla that came out right here. Tesla's Giga Berlin expansion got approval from environmental authorities, which is a very, very good piece of news. And once again, they could start construction on the site for the expansion efforts ahead of schedule. So, actually, a very, very good piece of news. This will help them with many different things right there. A lot of the early construction parts involved, like different asphalted logistics areas for new vehicles, the construction of underground lines, staircases for press shops, and a bunch of other things like that. And they're trying to install more rooftop solar panels. It's actually a good piece of news for them. Getting this approval will help Tesla a lot more. It's going to help them in a lot of different ways, at least moving forward. So that's very, very important. On top of all of this, I just want to mention that for SPY for today, we actually have a 1.83 puts to call ratio. We do have more puts expiring than calls. So we'll see what the market is trying to pull on this one. So far, what's happening is the market's pushing a little higher, but we're hitting some tough resistance levels. Resistance is kind of tough, so we'll just have to see how we end up reacting. And I just want to mention that for news about the markets, once again, the market's at all-time highs again, but make sure you watch resistance. It's getting tougher as as we approach it at these new levels. The Friday jobs report once again is showing a little bit of weakness. This is actually the first time we've seen the market show, unemployment at least show some weakness and surpass the 4% threshold since January of 2022. So unemployment is starting to go up. And there's actually a big shift right over here. And then on top of this, don't forget what the Fed has said. They've been continuing to reiterate the fact that they're not ready to cut interest rates. They have to look at more data just to be safe. So that's something else that's worth noting. Anyways, that's it, at least for the majority of the data. What do I see for Tesla moving forward? So I'm going to break down some very important levels just real quick. If I go to the 30 minutes time frame, Tesla is shuffling right over here in the 250 area. Now we have resistance at just under 253, like very close to that 253 area, and also at 255. And we have support at 250, not to mention 248. If we lose 248, there could be a bigger drop coming all the way down to 244, followed by 242, which is where we had the breakout. So I'll be watching to see if Tesla could hold at these levels or not. This is going to be a tough resistance that Tesla's at. If we break past 255, we could remain bullish and could be approaching very, very high levels like 258 to 260. That will turn us a lot more bullish. If we fail and end up losing our 30 minutes 20 EMA at 248, Tesla could actually dip quite a bit down to 244. So keep those levels in mind and just know that right now we're shuffling around 250. We're trying to hold it. There definitely is potential for Tesla to go higher, of course. We have to try to get back above 253 and then 255. And just know that resistance around this 250 area is getting tougher. So just be very, very careful. For SPY, it's the same thing. So SPY popped all the way up to about 553, then came back down, and now we're kind of shuffling at 552. So don't forget we have critical support at two levels: 551.26. If we lose this, look at 550.5, and then 549.8, followed by 548.5. This is going to be your intraday levels. If we break out above 552, I'll be looking at the high of the day. If 553 breaks, look for 554.25. So in my opinion, I think that SPY is going to attempt to go higher, kind of shuffle right here, and we'll have to see how it reacts to resistance. Fridays are known for having lots of manipulation, but just be careful and watch this resistance around 552.5. Let's see if SPY can break or not. I think there's going to be another attempt to push. And if we reject, we're coming all the way back down to 550.5. So watch for that test of 550.2 or 552.5, excuse me. If we reject, we're going back down to 550, then eventually 548. If that fails, if we break past 552.5, we could turn back to bullish. So watch that carefully. Otherwise, we're just going to shuffle. All right. So watch those levels. Nvidia, if we end up losing 127, we're going to be dipping all the way down to 125.64. Seeing a little bit of weakness here, so I'll have to be a little bit careful. Bitcoin is also dipping quite a bit. It actually failed and lost support right here at 57,000. So now we've dropped all the way down to 53,000, rebounded to 55,000. We're still rejecting. So I'm seeing a weakness in Bitcoin, excuse me, guys. QQQ, same thing. We pumped all the way up to the level that we had in mind. We were talking about this 492 area. You could see we went a little bit higher to 493, a little bit higher, only to reject back down. So we need to hold above 492 to remain bullish. If we fail to do so, I'll be looking at 490 as key support and then 488, which is where our 50 EMA happens to be. So watch, do we hold 490? If we hold above it, we could shuffle. If we break past 492, we're bullish. And if we end up losing 490, look for a bigger dip to 488 and then 486. Okay. I'm seeing weakness here. It is kind of like pumping and dumping. So just be mindful of that and watch for that very carefully during the trading day. Might dip a bit and kind of consolidate. For Apple, we got to break 222 to turn bullish. If you reject and lose 220, we're dipping all the way down towards 219 and then 217.6 all over again, the previous resistance and the breakout area. So if Apple loses 220, there's going to be a dip to 219, if not 217. And if we break past 222, we're going up to about 224. But that's looking a little tough. Apple's kind of struggling at resistance, so just be very careful. For Coinbase kind of like gapped down. We actually had a very, very negative move. This could be a interesting short, and it's looking very, very weak right now, especially when you zoom out of this chart. When I zoom out and actually go to the 4 hour, as Bitcoin is dipping, I'm seeing more downside potential in Coinbase. Might be coming all the way down to either 200, if not 193. So there's a lot of weakness as we broke structure right here. Remember this white trend line I was talking about, this being tested? We're supposed to bounce here, right? To continue higher. We lost support, so we're looking a little bit more bearish to me. If you look at Amazon, we have basically 196 coming. If we lose 196, there's going to be a dip coming all the way down here to 193. If we hold above 198, look for 200 to be retested. We're just barely at resistance, so we'll have to wait and see. For Meta, watch Meta test 508. If we lose that 505 is coming. If we break past 510, look for 515. We're shuffling right now in the middle, but just be careful. Make sure you watch 508, see if we hold that or not. Microsoft's on an uptrend, still struggling at 460. If we break it, look for 462. If we fail to hold it, we're going all the way down to about 456. So I'll be watching that very carefully. For Google, if Google rejects, we kind of have a bearish divergence. We'll be dipping all the way down to about 185.8. If that fails us, 183 is coming. But if we hold this and we start pushing, I'll look for 190. It's looking like it might dip a little bit, so just be a little bit careful, at least for now. Anyways, that is it for this video. I want to thank you all so much for listening. As I reminded you guys, be careful with Tesla. Like, yes, it has more upside potential. I'm still very bullish on Tesla to reach the 260s and later levels like that. I still think it's going to eventually push higher. But for the short term, for just right now, just today, be careful at 250. Tesla's at some tough resistance. Watch and see if we reject or not off here. We're just shuffling right now during the pre-market, so I'm watching, but I'm seeing some toughness in that level. It's tough to really hold above 250. So watch and see if that holds and how we end up reacting. Okay, guys, that's my warning for today. Make sure you watch that level very carefully, see if Tesla could hold it or not. And if it doesn't, watch the levels I called out. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys very soon. Hope you guys are still enjoying the 4th of July weekend, and I'll see you guys very soon in just a couple of hours. Thanks again, and peace out.